but then when it came to the first album, they had Teddy, they had Marley Marl, Eddie making the music. Did you get involved at all, or what was when they were just recording or doing the album?
No, we would be there in the studio and work with them, or just be there in the studio, support or whatever. But then when an album was finished, we would all sit down collectively and pick the songs, because we did more than whatever songs that ended up on the album. So we would kind of go through all the music and say, okay, this is great, no, nah, yeah, maybe. And that's how we would come up with the album.
There was no Uptown didn't have an A&R that would say these are the songs we're going to pick. And
well, in the very beginning, so yeah. This is the thing about Uptown. When I think about Uptown, and I want to say this in the most humble way as possible, that I want to say that we were the foundation for Uptown. Like Uptown Records started as a compilation album, and it was maybe 6 groups, I can't remember, and everybody was dope, everybody's talented. But for some reason, that record, Mr. Big Stuff, took off. It really, really took off. And, everybody had their projects, but our project really, really took off. And we were the first group to put out an album on Uptown. So the work that we put out paved the way for everybody else to come after. Yeah. And that's also because you asked the question of, was it an A&R? It wasn't really an A&R. It was Andre, Jimmy, Kurt, Kim Brathwaite, and maybe a couple other people, and I can't think of their names right now, and us, So we kind of did everything. We did all of it together, and that was how we built up. And then as we did better, we got more people in, But everybody was learning from that point, My man Jimmy Love, J Love, Jimmy. Yeah. Jimmy's coming on your show, right?
No, I've done a 2-hour interview with him.
Okay. Yeah. I love Jimmy. J Love is my man. But we started together. Kurt Woodley, Jimmy Love, Andre, Gary was there, Kim Brathwaite, and somebody else, and I can't think of the name right now, and us. And that was pretty much it. That was Uptown. So we kind of worked together on everything for the most part in the beginning.
Yeah.
So at that point, there was no designated A&R. It was us and them, yeah. The rest of the guys. Yeah.
So off the first album, what was your favorite track from the first album?
It's a great question. So we actually did an EP first, and it had Chunky But Funky.
Yeah.
Some other Mr. Big Stuff and something else. But I want to say Mr. Big Stuff, because that was the one record, maybe the Overweight Lover, because the beat is nice on Overweight Lover. But I don't like to say the word favorite, because it just pinholes you into something else, just one thing. But I had, if it was to say a favorite, it'd probably be Big Stuff, because that was the one record that started everything.
Okay. Yeah. And then when you rap, when you have the track like Nike, do you have to go out and start getting Nike for everyone?
we that's all we wore anyway. Like, well, the first video, I'm sorry, we had Spot Built on in the first video, the Mr. Big Stuff. But after that, everything else was Nike. And we actually went to Nike, or they approached us. I can't remember what happened. And they started, they endorsed us. They supported us. They gave us tour money. They gave us tour jackets. We got boxes of sneakers every month, sweatsuits and everything every month. Yeah, so you'll see a lot of stuff early on with us with Nikes on and Nike sweatsuits, because they were sending us stuff.
Now, did you already have the track Nike before this happened, or was it that they would?
Nah, we was already like I think it was because of that, because they were looking to endorse us. We did it and just added it to the album.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were already it was like that was our thing anyway. Nikes were our thing. It's crazy that I look back now and I see like all the hot Nikes out now, and these are all the Nikes that we were wearing back then.
Oh, the retro kind of things that are doing.
Yes. You hear these guys? It's about 10 of them right now.
My goodness.
Yes, some in Miami, Florida.
See that? Yeah. While we're digging in snow here. So, so after the first album, that does almost 300, 400,000 and stuff, do you go straight on tour, or what do you guys end up doing?
That's a great question. So we did a lot of club dates. We did a lot of club dates. We did a bunch of club dates, and those were the kind of things that helped us kind of put our show together. And we ended up on a few different tours. One of the first tours I remember being on, we went on a Fresh Fest tour. Then we went on a Wipeout tour with the Fat Boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the Fresh Fest tour was like, it was crazy because it was like 4 groups on one bus, on one tour bus. And
Wow.
people were sleeping everywhere.
Wow.
Everywhere. You only got 9 bunks. About 9 bunks. 3, 6, maybe 12. 9 to 12 bunks. And you got a big back, and then you got seating up front. People were sleeping everywhere. So it was us, Salt and Pepper, Joski Love, UTFO. Yeah, UTFO, Joski Love, and Dana Dane.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, God, yo. All of us on one tour bus. Oh, man. Those were great times, though. Those were great times.
Relationships, you get to form relationships and friendships.
Real relationships, yes. Like, I love those guys still today, Whenever you go through something with someone, or, in a positive or sometimes negative, there's a certain bond you create, I almost get like choked up sometimes when I think about it, because it was such a pure time in our career. It was pretty dope.
Yeah, and I think in those early days, I mean, is it when the videos come out that the family start to think, wow, okay, this is really happening? Or when did they start to believe that, well, they did give you the blessing, but when did they really think, wow, this is really...
Yeah. Well, they start when you come home and they be like, oh, he is right here. Here, speak to him, talk to him. That's your cousin from down south. Say hi. Now they completely bought into it. They're completely bought into it. But touring was really like us again putting in that work for Uptown, because at that point in our career, Uptown wasn't just they were managing us, but they was also our label, but they were managing us. So this is, we out on the road and we're making money, and some of that money's going back to the house, But after maybe a year that, we was like, you know what, we good. We handle this on our own. We got this. So we didn't have a manager. We managed ourselves. Yeah, we managed ourselves. Like, so Uptown just was they were just our label at that point. They were our just a record label, and we managed ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think oh, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it was one of those things that, we kind of came in learning, and then we learned pretty fast, and we figured out what we needed to do, and we did it,
Being that you guys were the first, were you able to learn the business side of things early on? Masters, publishing, copyrights, all that, all the ownership stuff, and points.
Yes. So again, like I said, we started picking up quickly, very quickly. Well, why is this? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing another promotional show? Why are we have another promotional show? Why are we going on a promotional tour? No. We're not going to do, we need to earn some money here too. Like, it just can't be all about that. Like, we started figuring things out, and what happens is that you got a company, then you got another record that you need to put out, right? So you got let's say a guy record, maybe, I don't know, you want to make sure that gets positioning or whatever, get played. So guys not really out like that, but let's Heavy D the Boyz are out. Let's get them to do a promotional show for us, so we can make sure that this record that's coming back next, that gets the play that it needs, or the position that it needs. But it was a lot of that. So we figured things out really quickly, and we adjusted, And it's nothing to take away from, anybody, but it was just, us taking care of ourselves, making sure that we were taken care of,
After the success of the sort of first album, especially for Uptown, and you go start working on the next album, does anything change within, does the when you're doing big time, does anything change from, okay, the approach, who we're going to work with as a group? Do you make that decision, or is it still Heavy and Eddie doing all that stuff, and you and Troy at the back? What happens? And
well, that's a great question, and it's a great question because things did change. So we were on a roll so much that being away from New York, you kind of lose a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You miss a step now because you're away. So whatever was maybe hot before is not really hot now, and there's something coming in and up. If you're not in the midst of it, you're gonna miss it.
yeah.
So what happened with us was we started working with a choreographer, and I want to tell you that this was the like that moment in your career where everything switches and you go from being mediocre to being awesome, greatness. And so we needed someone to help us achieve that, to get to that point or do that, because we didn't have that edge, that street edge, or the knowledge of the club anymore. We weren't in the clubs like that. We're in the clubs in Texas somewhere, or in a club in California. Like, so things is different. They trying to keep up to us now,
Yeah.
what we've been doing for the last year or so. So we began working with Rosie Perez.
Wow.
And when wow, but she wasn't Rosie Perez, the Rosie Perez that you know her to be now.
Yeah.
She was just Rosie, Now, Rosie, though, was dope. She was dope, and she was no nonsense, and she didn't take no shit. And
wow.
she made us, I want to say, I like to think that she pulled out of us more than we could have pulled out ourselves at that time. And she made us great. And that we got thing is the example of that to me. Is like, I was in the best fucking shape of my life. I felt great. I felt awesome doing the routines. And we not only worked on that record, we got our own thing, but we worked on preparing for tour. We put a whole set together. So we worked on More Bounce to the Ounce, all the different other records from that album. And we put together not just the song, but a whole tour. And she was just incredible. I love her till today. I haven't seen her in years, but I love her still because that was just an awesome moment in our lives. And she made us great.
Wow. Yeah, in fact, I did see a video that Eddie posted with Rosie there. And I'm thinking, oh, I didn't get the connection
right
with that. But so back when you were doing when you're working with her, who was it? Uptown that brought her, or who found her?
That's a good question. I can't even tell you. Maybe it was Uptown. I'm not sure. I can't remember that. I just know we showed up at rehearsal one day, and there she was. And I was like, okay, all right, this is what we doing. And she was incredible, boy. And she, she would work us out. Like, she would make us do a routine. And we would do the routine we'd do the routine together. Then we had to do the routine by ourselves. Then we have to do the routine face the other direction. Then we would have to do it 3 times without a mistake,
Wow.
And that's the only way we could move on to the next song.
And then for you, though, having somebody now making you a lot more disciplined, was it hard to adjust at first? There was no fight back, or you thought, wow, this is going to take me to another level?
Maybe, I don't know. She would have to tell you that. Like, I don't think so. I think that we was pretty receptive to it because we needed it. We knew that we didn't have that edge anymore. We were on a roll we put out the single, Big Stuff. Then we put out the EP. Then we put out the album. That took us on the road for 2 years. Like, wow. It was like we was on the road for 2 years. I can't tell you right now because my memory's shot. Those days, back in the days, I used to drink a lot of Old English, but
okay.
my memory's shot. But yeah, I think that it was just one of those things that needed to happen for the most part because we didn't have that same. We were on the road and we didn't coming back home. We were missing things. We didn't have that edge, that same connection to the street. Yeah.
Yeah.